Hey nerds, welcome to Jerry Bear Reacts. This, obviously by the title, isn't a reaction. This is just more so a recap, right, of the first season, which was really good. And everybody keeps telling me that it only gets better. And I'm like, well, I can't wait. Jerry is just as hyped as I am. He just doesn't know how to show it because, well, he's a stuffed animal. So outside of that, I kind of made a list of some characters. I'm not going to recap episode by episode. This video would be way too long. I'm just gonna like go over some things, hopefully keep it condensed. It may get wordy. I don't know. I'm just winging this right now. So I kind of just typed out some names, and I also have my own little mini award ceremony at the end of this. I don't have any awards to give out, but it was just some of my favorite moments I thought I'd mention, and it's a cool way to interact with you guys. So with that being said, let's get this out of the way. Normally shows do this, I think at the end, right? Right, I think so. Our memorial, okay? We lost a lot of people. In order, right? These are the ones that I care about. If they're not mentioned, I don't care about them. And if there was something important that I missed, fuck, my bad. Coach Tanner, you know? I liked you. You were a dick, but you didn't mind getting one up by your students. You deserved a little bit better, Tanner. A little bit better. Maybe you didn't, but a little bit better. Vicky. You know, you were just lost. You're doing better now, though. You're doing better. Lexi. Lexi, we love you. Lexi. Don't forget Grams. A true angel. A true queen amongst the peasants. And then, of course, Anna. Young Anna. I love you, too. Rest in peace. So I'm gonna kind of go from like not 100% in order, but kind of like not the least important, but you'll get what I'm saying. So Jenna, from the course of the season, had to take on this role of taking care of Elena, to step into this parent role, basically, that she wasn't ready for, that she's not prepared for. And Tanner, I kind of get some of the stuff he was saying, like, yo, you're in a bad spot right now. Like, you were assigned to do this, and you're not really prepared. Like, you have to stay focused, or else you'll see the devastation like Jeremy was going through with the drug abuse, etc. And Jenna really held her own throughout the entire show. She had a little slip up with Goofneck, but other than that, like she's in a good place, and I think she's starting to really embody the parental role while also maintaining the friendship that she has with Elena. Not so much Jeremy at this point, but definitely with Elena. So I guess with that too, we can. I wasn't going to Goofneck, fucking meteorologist, reporter, Weasel nuts. We don't like him. All right, he got the fate he deserved. Next, Tyler. You didn't deserve to be mentioned anywhere first. You don't deserve to be mentioned towards the bottom of the list. You're just here. I don't like you. I don't think I'll ever like you. You can have all the character development in the world. I don't care how good you can draw. Even Hitler was a painter. I don't care about you, Tyler. He's got something going on, something I'm curious about. I have my own personal theories. I don't want spoilers, but I'm interested in that, but not the character. He tried to rape Vicky in the woods. Literally nothing he can do will ever shine a good light on him. So you're a bitch. His dad, he's a prick. They took his dad. His dad got snapped up. His dad got snapped up. It is what it is. That's it. Moving on. Too much time was spent on Tyler anyways. You also made out with Matt's mom. You're gross. Caroline / Connie. Sweet Caroline. Our first like example here of like really good character development. A complete asshole to start this season. And she really warms your heart towards the end, especially in Miss Mystic Falls when she has that moment with Elena. And I think that's, not to be 100% nerdy, but like in wrestling, right? In wrestling, there's good guys and bad guys. The good guys are baby faces. The bad guys are heels. When they flip, it's called a heel turn or a face turn. Like you're going to be a bad guy or going to be a good guy in their storylines, right? And Connie really had her face turn to become a better character. That moment happened talking to Elena in the pageant for Miss Mystic Falls for me personally. And then her growth and just catching what she says and like knowing that She shouldn't say the things that she says, and that she's trying, and that she's shallow. She's a kiddie pool, and I'm really enjoying her and Matt's dynamic, which leads me into, first of all, Matt's mom, who needs therapy, as many of these characters in the show does. She's struggling, and I think she's still in that like kid phase, that like teenager, like early adult, party, hoot holler, do all this stuff, and not really fully understanding that she has a kid at home that she needs to be taken care of, that actually needs her. Um, it's heartbreaking, that some of the conversations that Matt had to have with her, which leads me to Matt, who I absolutely adore. I love Matt right now. He's just in a show full of drama. Matt is just the normal dude right now, who is just, he's just there with his own issues, and he's really trying to make ends meet for himself. And I feel like he's an easily relatable character. I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for Matt, and he just seems like a good dude who's trying to learn his emotions and search his feelings in the loss with Elena, like being able to open up to her and maybe not fully to Caroline. Because when we leave him, Matt's there. He is concerned. He definitely does have feelings for Caroline. You had the walkway, jaywalking kiss scene, and you also had the I don't want to have anybody else in this car other than you. And he's there when she's in the hospital with eternal bleeding. I'm on my neck's itching, and so yeah, I really like Matt. Kind of a weird order here, but Alaric, right? Alaric, Ricky. So Ricky, man, this dude, Van Helsing himself, who the show had us completely tricked into believing was a vampire. He's not. He's just a dude that's looking for his wife, and heartbreaking when he actually finds her. And he watched his wife get sucked dry, basically, almost. And then he teams up with the person that did it, and him and Damon's dynamic together is maybe one of my favorite like friendships in the entire show that's starting to brew. Because there was a lot of hate, and he did try to kill him, and then Damon did kill him, but he had that ring. He has the ring of immortality. He has an infinity gem, and I feel like there's so much more that could be said about him, but he is probably one of my, if not my favorite characters. Weird as that is to say, he's just good. He's just a good person. Bonnie and Grams, I'm gonna put them together. Grams, who's just OP. Her moments with Damon and Stefan, her conversations like, I'm gonna protect my family from you guys, and her voice and her cadence, and her death, and the failure to kind of ward off that spell to keep the vampires trapped within the tomb. And it kind of devastates Bonnie, and we see Bonnie's character development of being this, like, I don't want to say shy and bashful girl, but she transitions from being that character into just a fucking powerhouse. Like, she has confidence now where she's at. And it's one of the characters the whole season that I was like, okay, I want to make sure, I want to see everything that happens with her, because I loved it. Her learning her powers and embodying the full witch thing. And after Grams died, going away and kind of doing some training, Goku style. It'll be interesting to see where Bonnie goes next, especially the moment with Stefan telling him, hey, you know, if Damon sheds any more blood, like, I'm taking him down. Stefan's like, hope it doesn't come to that. Leads me to Jeremy. I have him up a little bit higher because what easily relatable, easy to have sympathy and empathy for this kid. He starts to show off in a bad spot. He's doing drugs, he's drinking in high school. He's hooking up with Vicky Donovan, and he loses Vicky. And Elena sees the devastation, the same devastation he had when he lost his parents, and has Damon mind wipe him. And Jeremy slowly pieces things together, reads Elena's diary. He finds out the truth about what happened. Along the process of his growing up, he meets Anna, a girl who he did have feelings for, kind of a prick for wanting just to be turned to be with Vicky, but I get it because he was understanding before he realized everything. And then he actually does have feelings for Anna, and both the people that he cared about and loved was he lost, and he had the loss with his parents, and he has a conversation that leads him to, okay, like I can turn off these emotions as a vampire. And in a scene that really doesn't hit that hard, well, it didn't hit me that hard while watching, but it did after watching the show. Like after I was like done recording, was him drinking the blood after Anna was stripped out of his arms. He drank her blood, and he took like 17, 18, 20 pain pills in a sense to take his own life, to become a vampire. And we'll see what happens. And I'm scared. I'm scared for Jeremy because he just deserves good things. He's just a lost kid, man. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and I have the order different, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Elena, who is essentially established as the main character of the show. She is writing in her vampire diary, and she meets Stefan, and she meets this guy who everybody's just mouth open, jaw dropping for, right? And she develops this whole relationship with him only to find out that he's a fucking vampire. So now she's involved in this entire world, but she doesn't care because she loves Damon. I'm sorry. She loves she loves Stefan. She really does. And she's willing to put up with all this shit. She's putting up with him going through his like starvation / crazy mode when he got a taste of human blood. She's there no matter what. And she's trying to balance her life with a little bit of normalcy with her friends and also being in this vampire world while discovering that the reason that they're even talking to her in the first place is because of her similarities to Catherine, which is understandable. Like, I'll never be her, etc. But her growth too of just being, she's going through phases where she's, okay, I'm this teenager. Okay, I'm in love with this dude. I'm kind of scared of this guy, but not really. And then his brother, who's like super attractive, who's an asshole and murders people, but at the same time, I got a soft spot for him. One of my favorite scenes in the entire show, which I kind of changed it for my little mini award ceremony we're about to get to, was Elena and Damon talking in the kitchen, where she says that she's sorry for his loss, and like it's like truly. And Damon actually felt that for the first time. Like he felt somebody have genuine like sympathy for his situation. And I think right there was his start with his connection with Elena, despite her looking like Catherine. Like that was the first thing of like, okay, thank you. Not to mention their little road trip and everything. But the whole Elena Stefan dynamic, at first I wasn't on board with it. But once I found out he's trapped as a 17-year-old, I'm like, all right, I can kind of accept it. They're just interesting. They do really care about each other. They do truly love each other. They've broken up twice now. One was Elena, one was Stefan, and she's in a really supporting role of him, along with being in a family and learning that we learned she's adopted, and her parents are Isabel and effing Johnny Gilbert, who I think I skipped over completely. John Gilbert, I don't like you. You're built like a light bulb. You're a shitty father. And Isabel, you're a whole sack of shit. Wanting to learn about these vampires, turning into a vampire. That's cool. But then, like, you just lead your husband to believe you're dead, only just to show up and ask to talk to your daughter that you never told him about. Dickhead move. But Elena, we found out who her real parents are. That she's not really a Gilbert, but she is the same bloodline of Catherine. Lastly is just Stefan and Damon. Obviously, the Salvatore brothers, every single moment of them together, like fighting together or just having each other's backs, is really cool because it shows up. Damon is trying to make Stefan's life miserable. He's showing up, he's killing people, and he just doesn't want Stefan to do what he's doing. He wants Stefan to feed. And Stefan just wants to live this normal human life. He doesn't want to be a vampire. He wants to live his normal life, so he feeds on rabbits and raccoons and squirrel nuts. And Damon just wants him to be his brother, and it's just not the case. He's like, hey bro, let's go feed on people. Let's be who we really are. We see Stefan over the course of the show. We see him as this white knight, perfect do-gooder, Batman, and he gets a taste of human blood when Elena saves his life. and it sends him on a fucking rampage. And he starts robbing the blood bank. He goes off the rails. He's on drugs. He's wearing leather jackets again. He's got on sunglasses. He's driving his fucking car. It's a completely different person. He's losing it. He's on edge. He's paranoid. And Elena kind of reels him back in, which we get flashbacks to just how he was also turned. And it was just supposed to be Damon that was turned. And that's why Damon holds this huge grudge over him. And it's weird because Stefan, while being turned when he feeds on his own father, he brings it to Damon and it's like, you know, we can be brothers forever. Like we can do this. Like we can have this life. Like taste this blood. I can turn off all this pain and anguish with a switch. To leading him just to being a normal, just good dude. So his switch and some of his true colors as a vampire, which isn't really his fault, because like Damon said, he's been suppressing his like actual self this entire time. His body's supposed to get used to it, but instead he fought it. So anytime he gets human blood in the system, he's going to turn into a fucking lunatic, basically. Stefan went through a relapse. We'll see where his character goes. He does love Elena, and not because of the Catherine reasons anymore, strictly because it's Elena. And yeah, it's good stuff. Damon, I think, had the most character development because he starts off as this prick and turns into, yeah, I have friends. Like he says in the last episode, like, you know, when I came to this town, I wanted to destroy it, and now I wanted to help people. That clairvoyance. I think his full face turn, there's like many moments that like led up to it, but his full face turn was seeing Anna's death and wanting to help, and he couldn't. And he does care for his brother, and his brother cares for him despite all the bad things. There's still the protection there because they are the Salvatore brothers, and it's just cool to see that bond and connection. Damon going in for the smooch there at the end, the kiss on the cheek, which led to the kiss with the song blaring in the background. They his one friend he has more feelings for, which sucks because it can put a bigger rift into his already insecure brother, which for good reasons. But my favorite part about that is Damon like doing this motion after the kiss. I think he knows that that's Catherine now. I think after the kiss, he fucking knows. But Catherine back in the picture is the last character that I'm talking about because we see the flashbacks of how she manipulated the brothers and then moved to Chicago after the fact and then just never communicated with them whatsoever. She wants nothing to do with them. And I think Damon learning that really also set his change into motion. I think it helps Stefan even more. And yeah, there's so many things I'm probably missing and like skipping over, but those are like the main things. The main character development, the big story leading into the next season is going to be Catherine and how this whole dynamic is going to change with having Catherine, Elena, a dead body in the kitchen, Jeremy presumably dying. I don't know what happened to Jenna because she let Catherine into the house. She didn't invite her in. She just said, get in here. I don't think that counts as an invitation. But how much of Catherine coming into the house, how much of Catherine did we see throughout the season is the big thing? Or did she actually just show up at the end and the whole, what are you doing here to Damon was genuine? Not, why are you at this house? Like, what are you doing here? So we'll have to wait and see. My award ceremony. You guys ready for this? This is a little goofy. And then we'll wrap up the video. God, what's this timer at? 19 minutes. If you watch this whole thing, you're a trooper. So, my current standing on Team Stefan and Team Damon. I'm going Team Stefan because I feel like he's right for Elena. You know, Damon, we saw him basically abuse Caroline at the beginning of the show to get what he wanted. Kind of fucked up. His character development's happening. You see the connection there. You see the bond. But I got to go with Stefan because he just, right now, he's just the better option to keep her safe. Not saying I won't ever switch to Damon. I'm just saying I'm with Stefan right now. Hottest moment. This is doubling up his hottest moment / best kiss. Damon and Catherine. Right there after a murder. Catherine all bloodied up and Damon getting in on that action. Get some of that blood. I liked it, dude. I thought it was hot. Funniest moment by far is the damn dollar joke. Are you kidding me? Stefan in bed with Elena, Damon coming in. He's like, don't worry. If I see anything I've never seen before, I'll throw a dollar at it. Referencing one, just the copious amounts. His body count's probably astronomical. Two, the fact that Elena is a spitting image of Catherine, so whatever she has, he's probably already seen. Most heartbreaking scene may not be what you expect. The most heartbreaking scene for me is Alaric talking to Isabel, or Isabel talking to Ricky, basically. He takes off his ring, throws his vervain on the floor, and she just looks him in the eyes and is like, "You're not gonna remember any of this, but like I loved you sincerely, truly. I will have to live with this regret the rest of my life. This is my mistake. And I love you." And she put the ring back on his finger. And for me personally, it was the most emotional moment throughout the entire show. I just felt bad for Ricky that he won't remember that moment. And then you also see Isabel, who had a little bit of sympathy for Jeremy, but also she was established as this stone cold bitch, and then has this moment of like, I've been turning off my emotions, but like, Rick, like, I love you. And it just sucked to watch. Best scene. My honorable mention for best scene is going to be the Miss Mystic Falls dance with Damon and Elena, because that's like the turning point of, I think, her emotions for him. It's a great scene. It was beautiful, and the music and everything, it really put the focus there. Because somebody mentioned on the Patreon where for a moment the world stopped and it was just those two. And it's true. But the best scene for me is the conversation between Damon and Jeremy right there in the last episode. That conversation of Damon's full character development, of him like, man, I wanted to save her so badly and I couldn't do anything. And he admits to like, hey, I've had my emotions off this whole time, but like, now they're on. And yeah, it is easier. Granted, that conversation leads to Jeremy doing what he's doing, but Damon just taking that moment to just get up and talk to Jeremy, to go make that first move. That is the precursor to his conversation with Catherine on the porch, thinking it's Elena. But I think him talking to Jeremy is just a monumental moment. Which leads to the last thing I'll talk about, which is my favorite episode. I have two, or three technically. First one is episode 6, Lost Girls, where we have the moment at the end where Catherine was the vampire and she's the one. It's the moment that we realized she's the one that turned Damon and Stefan. That whole episode was fucking nutty. Like, that whole episode was wild. I loved it. Miss Mystic Falls was a great moment because we have the moment with Elena and Damon, and we have the full moment with Caroline. So yeah, it's just good stuff. And obviously the finale is by far probably the best episode, like start to finish, because everything we learned, the full development, the craziness of it, the learning that Bonnie lied to them, and then Bonnie's still saving the day, the thing going on with Tyler and his dad. We had the Caroline and her situation. Obviously Isabel's not there. Johnny Gilbert gets taken care of. Catherine's in the picture. Damon's made a full turn. Stefan is Stefan. And Jeremy's moment, we have all the pieces right there. The finale was a very good finale to the very first season. The show does cram seasons worth of content into an episode. I don't mind that, actually, now it's going on. It was weird to get used to, but overall, really enjoyed the first season. If it gets better from here, cool. I want to kind of do like recap maybe at the end of every season. Hopefully they're not like this long, like 25 minutes almost. I'll probably edit some of it out. I may do something along the way. Maybe not the same awards every time, but those are the awards. I don't have any. I'm not editing that any effects. I'm too sleepy. That's the end of the first season. So thank you guys for recommending me to watch this. We have like 7 seasons left. We're going to knock it out. So thank you guys. If you watch this whole video, you're an absolute trooper. I'm going to keep the intro or outro short. Links to everything in the description box, Patreon, Twitch, social media. Playlists are up on screen. As always, guys, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Stay cute, stay hydrated, and I'll catch you on the next one.